Somebody was asking me something when I was having tea. My mind was so involved in the tea, I don't know what it was. In the Yoga Shastras, there is one... you were asking. In the Yoga Shastras, there's one term which is very interesting. It's called, often not properly translated and explained. It's called Pratyahara. Pratyahara. That means special diet. Pratyahara. It also means the yogi's capacity, if you practice yoga or meditation or kriya, any one of these things, one of the steps is called Pratyahara. Now it is always generally translated as sense withdrawal, Pratyahara. Usual translation. Now, Pratyahara actually means, why I am saying this is because I was having tea and I was totally drinking the tea. And she asked me something and it just went above my head. Then now I am thinking about it. So, Pratyahara is the capacity developed by the yogi to give complete attention to what one is doing, and then when it's over, to switch it off and fix your attention on something else. Life would be much simpler and easier if we could do that. The reason why most of us are confused and distracted is because we're doing one thing and thinking of something else. Right? We are driving. If you drive and think of something else, you know what will happen. But normally we have this habit of thinking of something else and doing something else, so that you don't get complete energy on what you're doing. Don't put your total attention on what you are doing. So that's why I said maybe you should ask me again, because I was drinking the tea and I was drinking tea. I was drinking tea.
You want me to ask now?
Yeah.
Ask now?
Yes, of course.
So every time I listen to you and when you talk about how your masters could go beyond the body and could be in two places, it just mesmerizes me.
I wish
you really want to do that.
I wish I could.
And you yourself, and you have, I remember I would listen to where you went to Sri Sai Baba's temple and through the door he went, and now I'm in your presence and I need to understand what this whole experience is about. And how does it happen? And also in that comes your journey from being here and what took you to that level and how is it now as an experiential? And there's a third one.
Okay.
What is God? Who is God? What is reality?
Are they related to?
See, you're going beyond body. So I don't know, I'm sure it's related. You can clarify and explain. Thank you, sir.
So, let's talk about the first part, more interesting. About God, not that interesting. So, our body, I'll put it this way, we have our own definitions of reality. So, we tend to believe, because from childhood we are accustomed to that. Perhaps even many births, we are accustomed to that, if you believe in births, that this is the reality that exists solely. There is no other reality for us. Which means, for us, reality is all that can be experienced through the five senses. Nothing beyond that. When I even formulate my so-called blueprint, of my rational blueprint. It depends on inputs only from my five senses, which are then worked on by the mind and made into a particular shape or a tabulation. Now, what is the basis of this? The inputs that I receive from my five senses. What are my five senses? Eyes, ears, smell, nose, taste, and touch. I don't have anything beyond that normally. Maybe I have. Generally, everybody has potential to have something more. But as of now, these are the five instruments of perception through which we get all our inputs. The mind processes it and forms what we call our rational framework. Coming from Vedanta and coming from my understanding of it, this is a very imperfect understanding of reality. Because our five senses are imperfect. They're not perfect. At best, they are flawed, and at the worst, they may even be totally illusory. So, that reality which we have conjured up in this world, depending on inputs from our sense organs, is a questionable reality. Needs to be questioned a bit. Something is real, it should be real all the time. It can't be here today and gone tomorrow. But even we are like that. We are here today and gone tomorrow. How real are we? And our entire idea of reality is based on me first, who is not real, because when I say real, I am also saying permanent. I am trying to interchange the words. Now, regarding the impressions we gather from the outside world, because of which we base our whole theory of existence and what we are, the instruments of perception are often not perfect, and they are very comparative. I'll tell you, now I'm sitting here and I'm looking at that whatever that is.
Urli.
Urli. Is it called Urli? In Malayalam it's called Urli. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and there are these lovely flowers there, yellow flowers, red flowers. If I, you know, and you also see the same thing, right? You don't see the yellow flower as a black flower unless one is colorblind. Again, colorblind you don't see. So it's not the problem of the flower, it's my problem. This is because all of us are born with a certain kind of lens in the eyes, a concave lens of a particular power. Depends on whether it's weak or more, we wear glasses and so on. But we have convex lenses in our eyes, all of us, which are generally the same, roughly the same. Therefore we see this form, this round, and these flowers, and these colors. Now just imagine that there is a creature, there are, whose eyes are different, who is born with a different set of lenses, let's say. Like the housefly. The common housefly, biologically, is said to have compound eyes. When you say compound eyes, it has many little eyes, little lenses, little instruments clustered together. How will it see this? Oh. Do we know how this flower will appear to that eye with the compound eyes? It may appear completely different. We can know that only if you get into the fly's brain and look. Can be done, believe me. So, that sees it as completely different. I see it as completely different. What if I was born with the compound eyes of the fly? You would all say this is like round, and I would say no, it's square. What I'm trying to say, it all depends on your instrument of perception. The great English poet Alexander Pope said, the difference is as great between the optic seeing as the object seen. So, what is the final shape of this? Inconclusive. Depends on the observer, depends on the perceiver. But because all of us perceive in a common way with common instruments, we have defined it, that this is it. Nothing can change. That is one side of the story. But that it exists, there is no doubt. How it exists depends on how we look at it. Right? Look, even human beings, I'm talking about emotions. A human being may be living with us for many years, but we, after a brief period, really don't see this human being. We see that human being as projected to us through our experiences with that human being for so many years. We don't see the human being, actually. I know of people who only have actually seen their husband or wife on the day they got married, or 2 years, maybe. Now they don't, because they have so many years they have lived, so many experiences, so that experiences cover the actual observation of the person. So what is this reality we are talking about? Okay. So we have to look at this carefully and say, well, something exists, but with our limited capacities, it is not possible for us to define it. It's a good thing, good idea to have. Also, nothing is permanent. Everything is here today and gone tomorrow. So can we depend on that and say this will exist forever? No. Even people who have talked about moksha are no more with us, physically. Right? So it keeps moving. So when one understands this, one's perception of reality begins to change. One begins to wonder, can one be perfectly sure of our perceptions? Can we conclude that reality is based on our perceptions only? Can it also be different for different people? One side of the story. The other thing is, we all know that we are made up of molecules and atoms and things like that. And if molecules and atoms form our body, could it be possible that there is somebody who has acquired the capacity to dissolve it and bring it back when necessary? Could it be? I'm just asking questions. And I have seen a person like that. Therefore, I believe it is possible. If I had not seen, I wouldn't have believed. I am terrible. I am a very skeptical person. I was. Even now. I have seen Maheshwarnath babaji, my guru. I've seen him do things which is not normally possible. Because for him, the perception was completely different. And with that perception, he could form things out of the primary material of matter, change it accordingly. Okay, you said, how did you walk to the door? This cloth looks quite impenetrable to me. Right? I can't penetrate this. With my finger, if I push it there. But you know that it is woven, the wap and the woof, this way and this way. Think of a little virus like our corona fellow. Through each of these little woven squares, how many can pass? For them it is not solid. There is a lot of space. For us it is, see, again it is very comparative. They can pass through this. And therefore they see a lot of space. If you ask a quantum physicist, he will tell you that more than matter, what we call solid, this whole earth, this whole universe is made more of space than material. Here and there some sparks are going, like the electrons, but there is more space than anything else inside. So suppose you can imagine that a person who knows how to handle the space, does he have a constraint over space and time? But the good thing is, every human in some way or the other has the potential to touch that. That is the good news. We all have the capacity to touch that. Maybe many lives, maybe now, maybe it all depends on various factors of conviction, of understanding, of hard work and study, and then we will see this actually instead of theoretically discussing it. Then, said about God, this God thing, even Richard Dawkins has written a book, The God Delusion. I'm hoping to have a dialogue at some point with him. Now, generally the idea of God is that source from which the whole universe emerges and into which it disappears. Even if you define the word, some clever person said to me the other day that God means, this is always coming off from me. Said, this is better. He said, if you can say that G stands for generation of life, and O stands for operation of what has been generated, and D stands for the destruction of that which was generated. If you put all these three things together, you have your definition of God. That from which everything originates, sustained and goes back into. Okay. From the human point of view, this can be touched only when the mind becomes absolutely quiet and calm. Because till then it is distracted, moving in different directions. One pointed, you touch your essence, and then you realize this essence is no different from the essence of the universe. But this same energy, this same intelligence for over thousands of years has been worshipped in different forms, different shapes. It is okay. There is no harm in doing that because we cannot conceive of it without. So difficult to conceive. Now I must tell you a story. You know, stories are so important. The art of storytelling is very ancient in the world, not only in India. The Bhagavad, Srimad Bhagavatam, is a collection of, you would say stories, I would say Vedanta. Because look, Vedavyasa wrote the confounding text called Brahma Sutras. Really confounding. It's not easy for most people to read and understand the Brahma Sutras. It is the same Vyasa who wrote the Bhagavad, Srimad Bhagavatam. The entire essence of the Brahma Sutras is included in that Bhagavatam in small, small stories. In the middle of the stories, every now and then, the author stops, whoever it was, and says, ultimately, the aim of life is to attain your inner self and to have a darshan of the divine. And then goes to another story. So they are all intended for that. In story form, they are easier to grasp and understand. They may not be so easy to grasp in the Brahma Sutra form, for instance. So, I'm going to tell you a story. I wanted to justify a story, so I There was a headmaster of a school in Calcutta many years ago. who was a Brahma Samajist. You know, those days it was a fashion in Bengal to be a Brahma Samaji. That means we don't believe in all your gods. There's only one Supreme Being. Somewhere he sits and we should pray to him and so on. So many young people, Swami Vivekananda was a Brahma Samajist before he came to Ramakrishna. So it was the fashion also those days. So this man was a Brahma Samajist, this headmaster of a school. And therefore, if you read a text called the Gospel of Ramakrishna, you will see that it is written by somebody called Sri M. The Gospel, his name was Mahendranath Gupta. So he wrote under the pen name of M. So like me, somebody added a Shri. Therefore you will find the Gospel of Ramakrishna is only those things that were recorded on Sundays. Because the rest of the days he couldn't have time to go there. He was running a school. So anyway, so one day, long before all this, before the Gospel was written, one day Mahendranath Gupta had a problem, which we all married people know. He had a fight with his wife. So, don't tell me you never fight with you. So, he decided to go away somewhere. So one of his friends said, there is a nice garden of Rani Rasmani called Dakshineshwar. Go there and sit down and enjoy. Then come back, you will be okay after a while. Also, you might see there's a great Paramahamsa living there, so you might also meet him. He said, look, I am not interested in Paramahamsas and all these kind of things. These are all fakes. But you said there's a garden, so I'm going. So he went in a horse buggy. He passed Dakshineshwar garden. He thought, no, I won't stop here because again that Paramahamsa or somebody will come. No, I won't stop. Axle broke. So the axle broke, so he was compelled to get down from the car. So he went into the garden and he sat down on a bench. He just sat there. Then he saw somebody coming towards him. But this man, you know, when you say Paramahamsa and all, people have an idea, right? Matted hair, paraphernalia. But he saw a nice, handsome looking man coming from there. You haven't seen Ramakrishna Paramahamsa without his beard and moustache. See? He was a round face, very fair round face. Later only he had a beard, like me. I am now growing a beard. So he saw a man coming who was wearing a nice big Bengali dhoti. You know how it is, you can fold and put one end in your pocket, it's so long, and red bordered. And it was winter, so on his white kurta there was a black bandgala kind of thing. And his face was shining. He was wearing polished leather jutis. And he had just eaten pan, so the lips were red. So he thought, who is this guy? So he came to him. And this man asked him, do you live here? He said, yes, I live here. So do you know any Paramahamsa living? Somebody told me. He said, I don't know, maybe. He sat down. Let's have a chat. So the first question he asked him was, do you believe in God with form or without form? So this man was wondering, why is this stranger asking me this question? Anyway, he said, I am a Brahma Samajist. I believe in God without form. I said, okay, fine. He said, that is okay. Great rishis also believed in God without form. That's fine. Okay, then tell me one thing. This God of yours, formless God of yours, does he live in some special heaven or is he everywhere, all pervading? He said he's everywhere, all pervading. Okay? He said, you see there's a temple, there's a Kali's image there. If your God is all pervading, he should be inside that image also, right? Nobody had ever told him this, He was a little bit stunned. So he said, he's all pervading, yes, no. He said, yes, you said he's all pervading. So why do you miss that image there? It must be inside that also. So come, let's go and bow down to the moon. He said, I'm not coming. So that day was sorted out. He went back home. Something about this person wouldn't leave his mind. He went home, but he was thinking, who is this guy? Why did he talk to him? There was something very nice about him. He didn't know exactly how to place it or what. Who is this guy? And he went home, he was thinking. And he said, I won't go back there. I'll get caught up in all this. So one day, on a Sunday, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was sitting with his boys. His boys, the circle of young fellows who later on became the Swamis, Swami Vivekananda, Brahmananda, all these guys, stalwarts of the movement. He was sitting with them. They were all young boys, usually cutting classes and coming. Sunday may not be, but generally they never went to college. Everybody said he's spoiling these boys. So he told them a story about a priest in a temple. He used to mix opium. You know what is opium? Afim. Opium in the milk and give it as prasad. So it's nice. So everybody came to the temple to have the prasad. Addicted. So he was talking about that. Then he said they used to keep the milk there, and one day a peacock came and drank the milk. Then every day at that time that peacock used to come because it got addicted to the opium. So they didn't know. It was a story. He used to say many stories, sometimes unconnected. So they listened to it. Then he said, now that peacock will come. They thought, which peacock? What peacock? They left it. Somebody said to each other, Thakur says many crazy things. Maybe. So he just finished saying, now the peacock will come, when Mahendranath Gupta appeared. So he whispered to the boy sitting, the peacock has come. So as soon as he entered, everybody burst into laughter. Uproarious laughter. He didn't know what was happening. He said, am I a clown? Or why are they laughing? So after he left, he asked them, why were you guys laughing at me? And he said, this is what happened. He said, the peacock used to come to drink that opium milk. Then he said, the peacock is coming. Then he said, it has come. So we laughed. To you. He said, that is true. After that, I am kind of got addicted to coming. I don't know why. I don't believe many of the things. And then he continued. And then every Sunday, then he started keeping a notebook and recording. Thakur also accepted him as his official biographer, because once in a while he said, did you note that down? So, so you know what I meant. So it is there everywhere. You can look at it in this divinity called God, or whatever you want to call it. You can think of it as your inner self, the all-pervading self, or all the gods that you worship. It's everywhere. It's like Prahlad telling Hiranyakashipu, it is there in the pillar. Imagine what would happen if that pillar was. So, anything else?
So are we predestined to be on a path? Or do we choose it? It's a question that's always confused me.
You know, when you say predestined, it simply means that it looks like I am moving on a certain path. I do not know why. This is what the question comes from that. Because I am on a certain path. I think I am on a certain path. Did I choose it? Why am I on this path? Why not in some other path? This is what prompts you to ask this question, right? Look, we tend to look at life only in this life. We look at life in a very conditioned and short way. For us, life is only this life. I was born here. I lived this life. One day I'm going to die. I mean, this is my life. But from our understanding, there are many lives. So, you are on a particular path today because in your past births, you have been influenced in many different ways. So therefore, so if you say, is it destiny or the word, you can say yes because I am going there even without my understanding towards this path. But if you look for an explanation, it is not destiny, it is your plan. You have been at it for many lives and now you have come to this. You can look at it in two ways.
Another question. What if you are fearful and you know the path that you've chosen or you are into that path is correct? Are you on the right direction? How does one...
Why are you fearful?
It could be, I have no idea.
No, fearful of what?
Fearful of being whether you are in the right path. Suppose I'm born in a certain religion, right?
Right.
You've been taught or kind of conditioned from childhood to be on a certain path. People might look at it that you are basically not following what you were taught. So, but your calling is different, probably, I feel different. So how do you know whether you are correct or you are...
Okay. You are asking a person who was born in a particular circumstances, completely went to the North Pole from the South Pole and is now sitting here before you. If there is a fear, could I have moved forward? Tell me. So it's your conviction that takes you there. If I had no fear actually, I had some physical fear that somebody might hurt me, but nothing else. I was also. But the inner conviction was so strong that I chose something, I decided, and it's, as I said earlier, it's not just this life that contributed to it. A long chain of circumstances that led me to this situation. Okay. Any spiritual path that you follow, if your mind is at peace with it, plus you don't cause harm to others, and you don't say that this is the only right path, there are no other, then you're okay. I want to tell you this. We had this Pratyahara in 1516 from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. We meaning I decided to walk and some people followed, that's all what happened. By the time we reached from Kanyakumari, when you reached Indore, I think 3,000 people were walking with us. We simply called it Manav Ekta Mission for humanity. So while in Delhi, we visited every religious place possible. Church to mosque to temple, we didn't leave anything. So we went to a small madrasa run by a Maulvi, young man. They gave us chai to drink. There were about 300-400 people. He managed to give tea to everybody. And then we walked out of there and his little boys were there. And he asked me, where are you going next? Just close by, about 15 minutes away, there was a Gurudwara. They had already told us, please come this way. Because langar was there. what to do when you're walking. One of the greatest things is the free food given every time, any time. So I said, we are going there. So this guy asked me, can I also come with you? I said, yeah, you can come. Can my boys come? I said, yes. But I said, we have never been there. Any problem? I said, what problem? So they came with us. Then he told the boys, you stay out. I'm going in with, he said, I'll come with you. He said, with Shriyam ke saath hum andar jayenge. So as soon as I went in, he was wearing that white turban and beard and all that. So I told one of the people in that Gurudwara committee that this man is from that madrasa, he wanted to come with me. They said, no problem. In fact, they said, inko bhi ek sofa pina denge. We'll give him. So we all sat down. You know what happens in such times? They suddenly open the Granth and read whatever comes. Open. So they opened the Granth, and it so happened that a Kabir came. In the Granth Sahib, Kabir is there very much. Lots of Kabir Das is there. They opened up and they read it. They said, Awwal Allah Nuru Ghaye, Khudrat ke sab bande. So this guy is asking me, are they reading from the Quran? I said, no. I said, they're reading from their holy book. Acha, aisa hai kya? So he was so confused, he couldn't understand what was going on. People don't understand. This is the problem. They don't look, they don't read, go with blinds. They don't look this way, that way. This is the problem. So he sat, they gave him a sopa, he was very thrilled. And then after that, one thing, they gave him prasad. You know that beautiful, nice ghee floating kada prasad. That he didn't eat. That he said, this I won't eat, something. I said, nothing. Then he give it to me. So I took it and I pressed it nicely and he ate. So, why did I come to this subject? Yeah, it depends on various lives that one has led and seen all these things. And one knows that human beings are looking for something. Some are sad looking for something. Some are in pain because they haven't found satisfaction. This is the aim of spiritual life. Now you're all opening up. I was trying to beg for a question.
So my question is that in the Sri Bhagavad Gita, when Sri Krishna says to Arjun that do your karam and don't attach yourself to the rewards, be the doer, and at that time and follow the dharma, which was for him to fight the war. So in today's day and age, with so many distractions and you deal with people, could be in corporate life, in personal life, how do you strike a balance between doing your karam, doing your dharam, and not expecting or attaching yourself to rewards?
Even for a corporate life, Gita is the best thing to read. I'm telling you. The Bhagavad Gita, where was it preached? The battlefield. We are all in a battlefield, right? We are all in the position of Arjuna. And what is the first chapter of the Gita? Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Yoga of Arjuna's sorrow, Arjuna's confusion, Arjuna's doubts, Arjuna's insecurity. You can put all these words together. Vishad. And then slowly Krishna takes him step by step. He doesn't say give up and run. He says go forward. But keep your mind balanced. It's possible. Somewhere people have this mistaken notion that karma yoga means that you should not worry about the result but do your work. Not true. Nobody can do any work without knowing that there has to be a result. It has to be there. But if it doesn't work, don't fall into depression. Stand up and move forward. This is the meaning. Not that you should not have any aim or you should not have look at the goal. Who can work without a goal? Tell me. It's natural to look for a goal. But by any circumstances, if it doesn't work, don't fall into depression. Oh, it didn't work. You're wasting your time and energy. Look and see where you went wrong and move forward. This is what Krishna. And in fact, when Arjuna feels very low, like an expert psychiatrist, Krishna praises him. Bahu, Mahabahu, he calls him. Then Arjuna is up again. So, this is what it is. So even for corporate life, what is corporate? Tell me. This is like saying, somebody said, I'm a Catholic, so I don't believe in any else. What is the meaning of Catholic? It means all embarrassing. Now, it is like saying, what is corporate? Corporate is a group of individuals coming together to attain a goal. Individuals may not be able to do it, but a corporate may be able to do it. I'm not talking about the corporate definition as it goes today. This is what it means actually. So here also, since human beings are coming together, the Gita's teachings are very, very applicable.